Cameron Beaubier is back in action.
He's had a bit of a tough weekend with a couple tip overs in the same corner, which doesn't help your confidence. He's going to be coming from a little bit further back on the grid.
Bobby Fong on the Wrench Motorcycles machine is leading this championship.
Bobby was riding awesome. I mean, he rode away from the field on Sunday, and that's not an easy thing to do in this class right now. Everyone's really fast up front. There's a lot of good riders on a lot of good bikes, so for him to do that, that was really impressive. Watching Brainerd from the couch definitely made me want to be out there, but man, after seeing the way the points stacked up, I think I'm around 43 points out or something like that, and it gave me some hope. Definitely didn't see myself coming back for Ridge this early. Yeah, it's a little early, but I figured, man, like if I can at least ride around and try to get some points, limit the deficit going into the rest of the year, we could find our way back in this thing.
When a rider is injured, people are going to take it one of two ways when you see them get back on the bike. Either this guy is hard as nails and I should be scared shitless, or well, maybe he's not going to perform as well as he normally would because he is injured.
If I can suck it up through these couple races at Ridge and Laguna, and then we'll have a month off after Laguna. To be honest, I'm not a fan of people riding injured or myself riding injured. It's like, you know, heal up and come back when you're close to 100%. But on this one, I'm being pretty stubborn because I want to win that championship. You know, I want another championship more than anything. Going into Ridge the weekend before, I told Dave and Michael Kiley, and I was talking to Zemke and obviously Shelby and stuff about, I was like, man, like it feels like I could at least ride, and I definitely wouldn't have gone if like the points weren't as close as they were. But I just wanted to do anything I could just to try to stay in this thing, you know? And I knew if I missed Ridge, it would be near impossible to come back after that. So showed up at Ridge, I went out, rode some laps in first practice, and surprisingly, like, didn't feel that bad, but it just got progressively worse throughout the weekend. Like, it was pretty tough. Like, it seemed like everything was just going wrong.
Me and Cam were on the phone together, and I didn't even bring it up, but he did, and he says, I think I want to try and ride at the Ridge. He's like, just ride around. He's like, I gotta at least try. We go to the Ridge, and he goes, man, I'm gonna try it and see on Friday if it hurts too bad, or if I can't ride the bike, then we'll just scrap it. We get up there not expecting too much, and you know, he went out in that first session, and he didn't come right back in. And immediately I knew we're racing this weekend.
In practice one, Beaubier was fifth fastest, and only 7/10 off the fastest time set by Cameron Peterson.
It's a strategy, you see, just nobody will know how fast he really is.
Oh, and Beaubier down in 13. Man, luckily it's a slow corner. If you're coming back early from an injury, it just depends, is it worth it? I think for Cam, thinking he was still in the title fight and thought he could get some points, you got to weigh the risk versus the reward, because you could make things a lot worse. And so you got to go in there and be real with yourself. Am I able to go out there and ride good enough to put in a good result with this injury?
Maybe try getting closer to the tank in the corner. Like, I mean, like have the tank like right here on your leg, because that'll help hold you on the bike, so you're not putting the weight on. I mean, I know you can't put weight on your leg anyways, but that'll help hold you in, because if you're back a little further, if like the tank's hitting you here, it's gonna wear this leg out, because you're just holding, you know, because you can't put the weight on that, you're just holding so much. So try to get that tank to hit you way up here. Like, I know it's gonna feel awkward for your regular riding style, but if you can stay up there, that's gonna help hold you onto the bike without you using a bunch of energy.
Racers are different animals. Yeah, it was a little soon, I think, but I also think he wasn't going to do it if it was a dumb decision. If I thought it was dumb, I would have said something.
I could have had Peter carry you or do a piggyback ride.
He was hurting, but then he also didn't want to give himself any slack.
I feel like we're exceeding expectations at the moment. So
I just like cheer to keep up that for a race, though.
yeah, I know.
That's the problem.
But you don't need to keep that up for the race. Like, you really don't.
I would have to say, man, you cannot do the things that you can normally do. You can only do this. But he still wants to go out there, like, give it everything he's got.
He's going red. The first 2 sectors he's red, and he's 2.5 tenths under pole time. He's gonna put it on pole. It's like literally all he's got to do is ride down that hill and out of the last corner, the last complex of corners, and the guy's gonna be on pole with 1 leg. Man, just got in there a little deep and couldn't adjust the speed again.
Bike 6, down turn 13. Rider is up. That's bike 6.
I went and crashed in the same corner twice, and I think part of it was I used the rear brake quite a bit just for like feel and stuff, and I couldn't use it. It was so frustrating.
Cameron ends up qualifying 8th, while Loris Baz takes his first pole position of the season. Cam Peterson 2nd, and Josh Aaron rounds out the first row. Bobby Fong qualifies P4.
We didn't need to do that. We didn't need to try to push that hard. Yeah, I just need to come back from 11.
And that whole week was just kind of a blur. I was just so irritated that happened. The form we had at the start of the year, I felt so good on my bike. The last year and the last couple injuries I've had, it's the punch of the gut for sure, but try to stay in this thing.
Kayla Yakov is back at the track where she won her first Junior Cup race in 2022.
A couple corners to navigate now, really difficult to pass. 1 more corner to go. Here comes Yakov onto the front straightaway, deep behind the bubble. Her competition trying to figure out a way around, but Yakov comes to the line. The checkered flag flies, and she wins.
Kayla coming into victory lane after her first victory in the Junior Cup class was so emotional for anyone that was in the vicinity, but especially Kayla. Just a cathartic release. The tears were flowing because it meant so much to her to prove not only to herself but to everyone else that she is not just a consistent podium finisher, that she's a real threat to this championship and to the rest of the field.
I told myself at the beginning of the year I wanted a podium, and usually you tell yourself that, you want to win, you want a podium, blah, blah, blah. But that's kind of your pressure the whole year. And I was feeling that, honestly, like for myself. My team has never pressured me. Which is something that I'm really fortunate of. I was in the top 5 pretty much every session. So now we're gonna go have fun and have some hard racing.
All you gotta do, the starts y'all been getting, especially you, just get off the line. Don't think about it, just get a good start. You've been training, the race is 25 minutes long. You can suffer for 25 minutes. Just don't get complacent. Ride your pace, but don't, even for half a lap, if somebody's in front of you and you kind of take that breather, just keep going forward. Just charge. Seconds. 25 minutes.
Just think about some Allison chains and just think about the Northwest.
Ride your race. Have a lot of fun, okay? Same track for everyone, ride your race. Don't forget Barber, you were real good, mixed conditions. This is not mixed yet. I'll put 0, 0, 0 if it's real bad. Love you so much.
A Vision Wheel M4X Star Suzuki, Ty Scott got a really good launch from the outside position, and he goes, whoa, way up in the grass almost, Ty Scott, but he's able to save it, and he continues to lead the way, but it looks like P.J. Jacobson, the number 15 on that Rahal Ducati motor with Expel, going to be 2nd, and his teammate, Kayla Yakov, has gone from 5th to 3rd place.
What a start. Corey Alexander just behind Matthew Skoltz as Matthew gets a little bit shaky between that turn 3 and 4, but he's on the back now of those two Rahal bikes in 4th place as he looks to go up underneath Kayla early. She slams the door shut. So Kayla already, this is going to be so good for her. She's going to get to see the pace of these leaders at the front. And, I think as a young rider, that's so key.
She made some big moves. Turn 1, she went in there and went around the outside of 2 or 3 people and stuffed up Corey actually pretty good, for the teammate, but he was happy for it. That was a pretty big move. And then even when Schultz came up the inside of her in Mesa, she didn't let up.
Mesa goes up the inside of Kayla Yakov, but she's trying to go around the outside. The 19 is kind of hung out in no man's land, but she's got corner speed, so she's going to hold on to the position as they go down the hill. Kayla's got the position, but nope, it's going to go around the outside. So a little back and forth between the yellow and green machines.
I mean, she went so fast through turn 6 there. She started closing in on the back of Matthew Schultz.
Racecraft is awesome, and the aggressiveness she showed, kind of showed the guys like she's going to do exactly what you're going to do to her, and it's okay to race her like that too. That's what she wants. It was awesome to see her put it together.
Down the hill they go, and this is off of the ridge, the signature feature of this racetrack. And look at the tight line, wow, and a big surprise for PJ Jacobsen as his title rival in Matthew Schultz goes right up the inside, and now Schultz wants to try to dictate the pace.
Saw the battle for that podium right in front of me again, and I knew I was going to do everything it took to be on it and to step on it. I was making some hard passes, pretty late ones too, honestly, like late into the corners, but I was having a lot of fun.
Kayla Yakov now continues to hold off the advances of the riders behind him, and Corey Alexander and Jake Lewis.
Good riding.
Now we're going to see what kind of pace they had, because 45.6 was the last time by. There's the 19.
What a pass. That's a great pass down into that turn 13 area.
She's a demon on the brakes. The way she brakes and how deep she actually brakes and how much brake pressure she has at the apex is like through the roof.
Now she's battling for that podium spot, and it just happens to be the guy that's leading the points.
That's the toughest
right in front
thing.
of her. That's
the toughest
pretty
thing,
wild.
though.
Yeah.
He's leading the points, and it's her teammate.
She just went faster than both of them.
Kayla really is giving PJ all he wants. He's going to continue to see +0 on his board. About 3 laps ago, the 2 leaders were starting to break away. Now Matthew's the only one really starting to get away as Kayla is trying to go with her teammate.
That's a good spot for Schultz to look back and see where his competition is.
And PJ had to look back and was probably surprised and happy that it's his teammate behind him. I don't think that there'll be too much friendly fire from Kayla unless she knows that she can make the pass 100% clean. So for PJ, he knows he doesn't have anybody back there that might just go stuffing it up underneath him. Kayla won't be afraid to do that, but I also, this girl rides so far beyond her years. She's so mature as a rider, and she's just continued to get better as the year goes. She knows what's at stake with the rider in front as far as the points championship goes.
On this final lap of Supersport race number 1, with Matthew Schultz 2 seconds ahead of PJ Jacobsen, another 2 seconds ahead of Kayla Yakov.
This is going to be a great podium for Kayla Yakov.
I had to put my sunglasses on to cover my eyes up because it wasn't a rain race. This is something she earned, and I just kind of had to think it's like at the end of Days of Thunder when Tom Cruise won and his guys just sitting there on the wall. Just sat there and just made sure I wrote down my notes and my lap times. And she's harder on herself than any racer I've ever seen. And knew what it meant to her.
And Matthew Schultz takes victory in Supersport race number 1 here at Ridge Motorsports Park. PJ Jacobsen in second, Kayla Yakov in third.
Nice job.
Yeah. Dude, yeah.
I'm really hard on myself, so like the first few rounds I was really just beating myself up. Now we're finally getting to that spot where I feel comfortable and I feel comfortable being close to the front. I'm starting to shut a lot of people up. I'm sick of it, I'm sick of hearing it, and I'm not just the girl racer out there. I'm going out there and I'm gonna go try to win.
Kayla's talked about all year. She wants to prove people wrong, and she's been doing it. There was a lot of disappointed riders that day coming in, getting beat by such a young rider, and it's just awesome to see the progression that she has, and has such a bright future, and all that hard work, her dad, you know, finally get that day where it all pays off.
As Kayla is celebrating her podium finish, a light drizzle that started during the Supersport race gets closer to a flat-out rain.
All Superbike teams and competitors, please prepare yourself for the possibility of wet siding.
It's misty, sprinkly, like everybody's trying to decide what to do with tires. The weather apps are saying it's going to let up.
They're deciding if they're going to declare the race wet or not, which would be unfortunate because then if it does get worse, you would then have to pit and get rain tires and go back out.
The decision was for him to go on slicks because if it dries up, that's going to be the go. And then they had a little warm-up session, which he didn't go out in right before the start of the race, and I don't think that would have changed the decision per se on the tire selection.
As you go from intermediate to dry 1 to dry 2, gets more and more power, where dry 2 is exactly what you had this morning. It's not going to get worse, but then, you know, I also ask people what's going to happen. They say, oh, it's not going to rain, and now it's raining.
Attention all MotoAmerica Superbike teams and competitors. Opening time for wet siding laps. Track will open at 2:57. We'll close at 3:04.
It was my call not to go out during that 7 minutes because I'm going, if it starts to really rain in that time period, it's going to give us a little bit more time to get a good rain setup. Fork springs, maybe a shock.
Nothing makes me more angry losing a race by a tire choice. And it's not like there's no fingers pointed. We're a team. Like everything, we make the decision as a team, you know? Like there's been a few times this year where like we should have just went the other way.
Just be patient, okay? Yeah, we're gonna hope. There's a lot of guys on wets. We just hope that their tires are gonna get destroyed. All right.
Okay, if I don't see you, I'll say siding lap. This is a quick start procedure. This is a 10-lap race. 10-lap race, ladies and gentlemen.
10 laps. That's
10 laps.
They just shortened it to 10 laps. Mike, they can't do that, but you can't change the length of a race as they're riding out the pits.
The decisions that were made at the time, I was a little bit amped up about.
We made a tires choice based on a 13-lap race.
We're getting a radio call, okay, it's now 13 laps. We're going, okay. So I'm busy telling Bobby, literally, Bob, you got to be patient. The guys on the wets are going to take off. And then we get a radio call, the race is cut to 10 laps.
With 1 minute to go, they go, oh, it's going to be a 10-lap race.
In retrospect, I understand concerns from organisers and all that, but I thought that was probably not the greatest call in the world. And I think they admit that now probably as well, you know?
Yeah, it's shocking, it's shocking. Yeah. Okay. Seriously.
Right before we got on the broadcast, you were just outside and you stepped inside. So what is going on out there right now?
Well, these are tough conditions because it's not really raining hard enough to really do too much to the track. I don't know if it's wet enough for rains just yet. So yeah, it's going to be interesting when this race starts off here in a few minutes.
The two Attack Yamaha riders commit to rain tires and never look back.
And away we go to the chicane. Oh, hold your breath for this one. Cameron Peterson on those rain tires, gonna lead the way. It looks like everyone getting through.
But look at it, there's the slicks already. Baz is gonna try to get himself up in the front. You can see over here it's a little bit wetter, can't you? It definitely is a little wet over in this turn 1 area.
And of course it pisses down rain on Saturday and throws a wrench into, you know, everyone's tire choice, all that stuff, and we made the wrong choice.
Currently, Gagne is 8 points back in this championship from Bobby Fong. So Gagne, as we have Cameron Beaubier in, so Beaubier, the number 6, is in on this one as the crew has a chat.
You want to change tires or just stop?
I'm done.
check that. Bike 6, pit in. 6, pit in.
Here's the drag race between the Attack Performance Progressive Yamaha as they have a look over at each other, and they're probably smiling in their helmets right now, but it's going to be Cam P who continues to hold on to the lead.
Did you see the respect that Cam Peterson gave to Gagne when they came onto the front straightaway, how he didn't just push him off? If these guys weren't necessarily teammates or racing, on different brands of bikes, that's when you can see as Bobby Fong is getting lapped. He's getting lapped by these two right now. So, Greg, to give you an idea, they've lapped all the way up through 13th place right now, and that is just all tire choice.
Bobby and Cameron pay the price for the wrong tire choice, and both earn no points in race 1.
It's a huge loss for Bobby. A lot of guys lost a lot of points today. It really shook up the points. All it takes is one race, and the way this class is tight, it was a big change.
Leaving Brainerd with the points lead, and this whole time I'm like, man, I'm not gonna worry about the points lead. I'm not gonna worry about the points lead. I was so gutted, like with not having the points lead anymore. I told myself I wasn't gonna worry about this points lead, but then once you have it, you're like, there's a shot, there's a shot, there's a shot. And then you lose it, you're like,
Thinking about yesterday, it was kind of crazy, but Jake Gagne is able to finish second in the rain yesterday based off of great riding and a good tire choice, and he regains the championship lead. And sometimes when you win championships, luck can be a factor.
Well, they always say on your bad days, those are the days you win them.
You have to be in it to be there at the end, and we weren't even in it. We weren't even in the fight.
Looks like everybody in the front row got a really good launch.
Cam Peterson, and it looked like Heron did also, but I think it's going to be Cam P leading the way over Heron and Baz. Bobby Fong, good start as well. He gets himself into 4th early. Looks like Gagne 5th. So at the start, it's the same guy that took the win yesterday. Cam Peterson gets out front here, and he's going to have Heron right behind him. We're going to have to keep an eye again on our championship points leader in 5th place to see if he's going to be running into those same exact problems, but we have a distinct breakaway of these four. Heron goes extremely tight down into turn 6. What a move.
Sean Dylan Kelly on the top pro, BMW, goes up the inside of Cameron Beaubier, a corner in which Cameron Beaubier hit the deck twice this weekend.
If I crashed and took a hit, it wouldn't be very good, so that was in the back of my head kind of all weekend.
It's pretty wild when you think that these two guys right now, Greg, who are running in, 7th and 8th place, in Gagne and Beaubier. It's so crazy to think they're running 7th and 8th, both for their own reasons. Obviously, Gagne's got some issues with his arms.
Since MotoAmerica began back in 2015, there's only been 3 different Steel Commander Superbike champions. And other than one single one won by Tony Elias, the 1 and the 6 have all the rest. Lower Spaz on the right part of your screen going wide, so Wrench Motorcycles' Bobby Fong will take over 3rd spot, at least for the moment.
What a move.
I can't just keep getting 10th place in these rain races or 15th or whatever I'm doing. Like, I need to be better. I'm not going to win a championship like that unless I'm lucky and it doesn't rain for the rest of the year. Like, even if we made the wrong tire choice, I still needed to do better.
He got it turned here side by side, so Fong tried it, but he had to lift it up for a second, so he lost a little bit of that corner speed, and Peterson,
Wow, he lost the front there. It's good, though. Bobby was giving him some room. I mean, Bobby was giving him some room, and that's what made it to where those two didn't make contact. That's just good, hard racing between the two of them. He was 3.3 seconds behind Josh Heron before, on the last lap, was Bobby Fong. So he's charging forward right now.
Off the ridge comes Josh Heron, the California native, with a couple of corners to go. And in dry conditions under the beautiful Washington sunshine, it's all Josh Heron with a big victory. He takes the checkered flag as Bobby Fong has come across the stripe. So it's going to be Heron, Fong, Cameron Peterson comes home in 3rd, Baz in 4th, Sean Dylan Kelly 5th. Super solid. Hayden Gilliam with a late race charge in 6th. Forez and Beaubier, and your former championship points leader, again, Jake Gagne, comes home in 9th place.
Beaubier limps away from the ridge, only garnering 8 points for the weekend.
I was getting tired. I was having to kind of compensate with the left side of my body and change directions and stuff, and so I was wearing out muscles that I don't really wear out when I'm fit. I think come Mid-Ohio, it'll be good and make a good push for the last rounds and see where we end up toward going into Jersey.
Bobby Fong takes the points lead back by the slimmest of margins after losing it to Gagne in race 1. The top 4 are only separated by 9 points, with Cam Peterson 7 back and Josh Aaron moving up with a win.
Probably wouldn't put too much money on us leading the championship off the ridge, but honestly, not super surprised.
We've been pretty consistent in these dry races. That's why we have this point seed. We've been there in each dry race, and the weekend was it was an up and down weekend. But like I said, we want to move forward to Laguna, and the chance of it raining there are pretty damn slim.
On the next episode, Bobby takes a trip down memory lane, and Beaubier gets back on the top step at Laguna Seca.